Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for iPad today is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com.
Coming up, got me a ticket for an airplane.
Oh, yeah, baby. Plus,
Now I need apps before the fast train. Go ahead.
are you done?
Yeah.
Plus apps that move. That's a big trend now. And Amazon Cloud Player hits the iPad. And get ready for the plague.
All that in Metro Music. Sounds
What?
weird, but it's true. On iPad today.
iPad Today is brought to you by Go to My PC from Citrix. Go to My PC connects you directly to your Office Mac or PC from any other computer and from your iPhone and iPad too. Sign up for a free 30-day trial today at gotomypc.com. Use the promo code iPad. And by Slingbox, which can turn your iPad into a television. With the new iPad app from Slingbox, you can watch your home TV on your iPad anywhere you go. Check it out at slingbox.com/twit. And by audible.com. To download the free audiobook of your choice, go to audiblepodcast.com/iPad today.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to iPad Today, the show that discusses the iPad.
The iOS ecosystem and everything about it.
This is our 15th episode in one day. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, right. You're now impersonating Johnny Cash.
I am.
You look like him. Hello.
Kind of like a
You're
fat,
Johnny Cash.
fat, northern liberal
You're hot. See, I'm like sweaty
New England
hot.
Johnny
What's
Cash.
with
It's
it?
hot. Did we turn on the
It's
heat?
just the heat. The
heat?
AC is on in here. It's just, I don't know. There's
Hey,
something about the living room set. What
This
can
is
I
it.
say?
She's going. She's leaving us. She's getting on an airplane. She's going to London, England.
Yeah, but we're going to record another episode before I go. So this isn't really my goodbye
worst
episode yet.
nightmare. You mean we're not done?
No, we actually have another show in 2 days.
On Thursday. We are recording a little bit early because Sarah Lane is going to be away for 3 weeks. I don't know how we're going to do this without you.
Well, we're actually doing it before I go.
We're
That's
not
how
doing
gonna
iPad
do it.
without you, but I mean
How-
TNT and the other things. Are you?
Well, Social Hour, Amber and I
Social Hour.
recorded 3 episodes beforehand.
Okay.
TNT, I will be on remotely for a part of the time, but I will be out for 2
And are you
weeks.
going to stay in London for the whole Olympics or just for the beginning
The
opening
Olympics won't have
ceremonies?
started yet.
You're
I
going to
won't-
London before the Olympics?
Yeah, I don't want to be in London for the Olympics. Are you crazy? Hey, I have no problem with the Olympics, but it's not
I
like I'm
would
going to
leave.
have, front seat at the gymnastics.
I know.
Which is...
That would be cool.
That would be
That's
what
your
I would
sport.
want to... Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be into that. But no, this is for the web and a little bit of fun. And then,
fun.
Yeah.
And you're going to have two interviews. We've mentioned this before. We'll broadcast those on TWiT. They'll be early in the morning because of the time zone. But
Right. Yeah, they're in the afternoon on Wednesday
next Wednesday.
I don't know.
A week from Wednesday?
Yeah. But this is going to air after
So
I'm
this
done.
is yeah, I know.
So it's sort of hard to
so
talk
don't
dates.
even mention it. You saw it probably, and it was fantastic.
Wasn't it good? I am
It went
talented.
very, very well.
Talented interviewer
and
indeed.
then
Wow.
you're going to go to Arles, and you're going to paint landscapes and cut your ear off. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Well, why not emulate one of the masters of the craft?
Salvador Dali. So you're going to south of France, right?
I am. I don't know if we're going to go to Arles or not, but I would like
you should
to.
go to Arles. Apparently Arles is gorgeous.
Well, they've got the big Olympic thing. Is that Arles or is that Avignon? I think it's Arles. like where
Arles,
they
of
do
course, where
bullfights now.
Van Gogh went to paint, and it's beautiful countryside. But you are going to go to Nice probably, and the
We will be
Côte
near
d'Azur.
Nice in Antibes.
Antibes is beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh,
very
how
excited.
fun.
Yeah.
A perfect time to go.
I'm actually there right now. I am a hologram.
Very confusing.
It is confusing.
Very confusing.
So anybody who's watching this show live knows that we're not shooting at the normal time, but anybody who's watching after the fact, still the same show you know and love, and it shouldn't even matter.
But I'm thinking since you're leaving, we should do a show about travel because you're probably thinking right now a lot about using the iPad for travel. Are you going to take? What are you going to take? For instance, what are you going to take?
If I were not doing any sort of research about work, I would absolutely leave the Air at home and only take my iPad.
You don't have to do work. Just leave the computer.
The only reason...
Take the cannoli.
The only reason is because I will be Skyping into TNT.
So you need that.
Well, it's not so much that I can't Skype in on the iPad, because I could.
You could.
But I can't edit Google Documents quickly on the iPad, and that's something that we use for that show. We use it for this show too, but on TNT especially, it's really important to be able to edit stuff live, and that's hard to do on an iPad.
Now remember, Google bought Quick Office, which is an app for the iPad that lets you edit Microsoft Office documents, and I'm really hoping, we're crossing our fingers, that they're going to add a better editing capability for Google Docs on the iPad. They need to do that, I think.
They really do. It's a huge problem, and it actually keeps me not being able to use the iPad for like all of our shows on TWiT. I could get by otherwise.
Do you have a physical keyboard, or are you comfortable?
Oh, like the Logitech Ultra Thin?
Yeah.
Either one.
Do you want to borrow mine?
Maybe.
You can borrow it. I was using it for a while. It's a case, it's a keyboard.
Yeah.
And
loved it.
It's a good keyboard, it's great. But what I find is I don't do enough typing on the iPad. And the problem is when the iPad, even now, the keyboard is in my office, which is 30 feet away.
And they want to talk.
iPad will not let me use the keyboard. I had to turn off Bluetooth so I could use the keyboard on the iPad. And I just don't type enough. I don't think it's worth it. So if you'd like to borrow it for your trip, please do. You could do a review. Supposedly it will go like the whole trip without charging. It's very good battery life. Yeah. 3
weeks, huh?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, well, they say half a year, 6 months.
I reviewed it actually before you buy.
That's right.
But I hadn't been able to put it to the test.
Right. This would be a good test.
Out and about for a few weeks.
You've already dibs the Mountie hat.
Yeah.
So if you want to, they go together. The Mountie hat. I
want most of your things before
Just
I go on
take everything I have.
That's cool with you.
But you know what? You may not take
what?
My little Mac Power, the new PowerBook. I know you've seen it.
The MacBook Pro?
Yeah, the little with the Retina display. I ordered it, but it hasn't come yet. I'm so excited.
It's at my house right now.
I know. So tell me, what do you think?
It's beautiful.
You like it?
Magnifique. Yeah, I mentioned this on Twitter. It's like you look at the Retina display, and if you're used to it on the iPad, you're like, wow, it's so cool to have the same display on your larger computer screen, but there's so much on the web that looks terrible now.
Really?
Yes.
No kidding.
Text, for the most part, is all fine.
Yeah, because it's
text
vector.
The up-res is fine. But you look at, even little Twitter icons, it's like, all this stuff just looks crappy, and it never did before.
Really?
Yeah, and
wow.
there are certain sites that just have bad banners, and there's going to be a lot of having to scramble to make pages make sense for Retina display computers, because eventually they'll all be Retina.
Well, I'm wondering why it bothers you. I mean, it's even higher resolution on the iPad, and you didn't notice the same issues on the iPad, huh? Because
I think
for some reason maybe you expect more from a desktop.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's also just a bigger surface area, so I notice it more. Yeah, because you're not being able to pinch and zoom the way that I do on the iPad all the time.
Right.
So it's a different experience, but yes, it's a beautiful computer.
How about the weight? You said it felt heavy.
So this is 13-inch.
You use a 13-inch Air.
13-inch Air, and your mic is scratching.
I know. I'm sorry.
13-inch Air, and it is significantly heavier than this, but this is also an extremely light computer. I'm also used to the 17-inch MacBook Pro.
That's true.
So when I went to this, I felt like I was getting away with something, like it was made of
I love
little
the Air.
It's going to be.
I love my 13-inch Air. I did order the new 15.
It'll seem big and clunky. I mean, for carrying, but it's a beautiful machine.
Well, it's very fast, and I think the screen is a selling point. We'll see. I don't know. I may not give up the Air. It might be a challenge. Anyway, travel apps, or is that what we're going to do today?
Yeah, like globe-trotting type of a stuff. So it's not...
I consider, even though I don't, you travel more globe-trotting than I do, but...
Well, that's not true. You're going to Australia later this year.
I do love to travel. We both love to travel. I think that's a passion for both of us.
And the iPad is such a nice travel tool because it's good for imagination and sort of pretending that you're going to go somewhere and you see all these beautiful pictures of things, and there's interactive video, and there's all those sorts of apps. And then there are actually extremely, extremely helpful apps that help you plan an actual trip that you're going on, or that you're in the middle of, or you need to remember your flight details for. And for that, I think the #1 app that everyone must have is TripIt. We have talked about TripIt in the past on this show before because it is truly...
I live by TripIt.
Truly essential, yes. In fact, you told me about TripIt before I was ever a user. And this is not just on the iPad. This is a service that has been available to people just via the web for years.
Yeah, and I think it was originally intended at the business traveler who does a lot of day in, day out traveling, so you forget what hotel you're staying at, you forget which rental car you have. And having that all on your phone or your iPad is really fantastic.
Yes.
You could even march up to the counter at the hotel and plonk the TripIt, with some of these TripIt apps, plonk it down and it'll tell them what the confirmation number is. And it's really designed for the business traveler who's exhausted. But it's really great, too, for somebody like you who's going on a tour, and you probably have several hotels you're staying at.
Yeah, so this is actually,
what's
neat is what TripIt will do is it'll scan your email.
It builds it for you.
Yeah, it'll fit. This is not something that I entered into TripIt. This is something that was sitting in my inbox, and TripIt understands this United confirmation email well enough to know that I'm going to be
Isn't that great?
Leaving from San Francisco and then coming back, 21 days later. And if I click into the details of the flight, it'll give me the details. I have an unassigned seat, so I'm reminded that I got to do something about that. I don't want to be stuck in the back seat on the way there. Reminds me if it's nonstop and what kind of airplane it is, and I can even get some information about. Okay, well on that airplane, it's almost like Seat Guru. It's a different service. What are those horrible seats that I should make sure to avoid? But what's neat is that within this trip, this is a 3-week trip, right? There's a lot of things that are going to happen in between those two flights. Then I can start adding plans within this trip, which includes maybe smaller flights within the country or car rental or rail, 2 things that I'm going to need. I know I'm going to have to take a train from London down to Cannes on whatever day. So this is something that when I have that information, I have that all in one place. So my trip is all organized into one area.
So great.
Yeah, same thing for, I've got arrival. I can add little segments if the train trip, maybe I have to get out in Paris and I've got a couple of hours to kill, and I can really plan that down to the hour. That's really neat. I can check flight status if I have a Pro account. Now, I am not using the Pro version of TripIt, but little secret is once I did a little digging around, the Pro account does give you 30 days free.
Right.
If I sign up tomorrow, I am good to go for the entire length of my trip. And that will alert me if a flight gets canceled or delayed, for example. That's the kind of stuff you would love to have on the go, because you can imagine with all that luggage and everything, you just don't want to be wrong. So what you have to do, obviously, is give them your credit card and sign up for those 30 days. But you won't be charged for that first month. It's just the sort of thing where if for whatever reason you don't want to use TripIt Pro going forward, you'll have to go ahead and cancel that, or they will start charging you. But
I pay for TripIt Pro.
I'm absolutely going to take advantage of it. I think it's about $50 a year.
It's not horribly expensive.
If you travel a lot, it's definitely worth it. And I know that this is something that you've been using for a long time, and you've got really good settings as far as all of the stuff that that you can add into. I'm going to be doing some work while I'm in London, so I've got meetings, lodging, restaurant activity. I have information for all of this stuff. Now, they're scattered in various emails all over the place. What I'm going to do when I'm at the airport, before I even get there, is fill in all of this information, and then I never have to hunt again. It's all in my London, France trip.
What's fun is TripIt, by the way, you don't have to give them your access to your email. You can forward any confirmation emails to plans@tripit.com, and it'll automatically do the same thing. Or, as you said, hand enter it. It also keeps all your past travels. I'm looking at my trip to China, which I took in 2009, and the entire itinerary is here. And it's great. TripIt will put maps in of the places you're going, so you know how to get to the hotel and all of this stuff kind of automatically. And this is, in a way, looking back at my whole thing. Now, this is Travel Tracker Pro, which is one of the things TripIt did that was really smart is they made an API so that other apps, and there are a number of apps, will use TripIt. So you're using the official TripIt app, which is quite good. But if you want to spend more money, I think Travel Tracker Pro is kind of expensive, like $10. You get a few extra features. This also keeps track of expenses. You see I had no expenses on that trip, which is great. And will, of course, track your flights so you can see what the situation is. And as you said, that's a very handy thing that the Pro thing offers you. So there are a number of other programs that do it. And I just love the idea of having all of my travels in here that I've taken since I started using TripIt, going back to that trip in 2009. It's really been fun.
That's cool.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
It's like all my traveling.
Well, and it's not just, that's that trip I took in 2009, but maybe you can't remember that place that you went, but you know that it was in your itinerary.
It's all in here.
It's
not all in here.
Yeah.
It's really fun. A map of Red Hook because we went to drop Abby off to college. Things like that. It's just really fun. So highly recommend TripIt if you're a traveler. And Travel Tracker Pro is a kind of, there's Flight Track Pro, there's Travel Tracker Pro. As you can see, I have quite a few of them. This is a new one that I started using. I know, I'm sorry.
Your mic is just, it's
it
driving
just wants
me crazy
to rattle.
right now.
It just wants to rattle. I'm going to just put it pointing straight out. So now you can't hear me, but there's no shirt noise. This is one I just found. It's called Flight Plus.
I like the logo.
It's so pretty. Well, it's kind of like all these other ones, but it is focused a little bit more on looks. For instance, and it shows me things like airport maps and weather and all of that. All the different airlines are in here. I just think this is so. This is another example of an app that is a beautiful app that will give you all of your information. iCloud syncing is built in. You can log into Facebook, and of course, I'm using my TripIt calendar, which, by the way, is a special calendar that I subscribe to. So my TripIt stuff will be in here.
Oh, cool.
Even though it does also support TripIt. So I wish it had the old flights on here because I could show you some old travels. Let's see if it. Let's try and see if it'll auto-import flights from TripIt. See if it'll import the old stuff. Because my next travel in TripIt is not until November. So, but you can departure reminders, alert me by push notifications when these things change, like the flights change or the gates change. This is a really, really sweet little app that is going to look, I think, is just looks really gorgeous. Gives you maps of the airports and all the information about the airport that you might want to have. Look, even pictures of the Akron-Canton airport. That's something not many of you have or would even want, perhaps. So,
well, why not? It looks like a lovely security area.
So you can use the official TripIt app, and I encourage you to do that because if you have a TripIt account, it's free. But I think there are other choices, and I've just started using this very pretty app. I wish I don't have any data in here. I guess, let's see, scheduled, past. Yeah, I guess it didn't suck in my old data, unfortunately, from TripIt. So I can't show you, but
it's from today and beyond.
It is. It's the future, and the future's not even in here yet, alas. And I thought I had everything in here. No flights.
I like the in-flight, the flight en route stuff.
Yeah. Now, of course, if you're on an airplane, that's not much use. But well, I guess it is if you're on an airplane with Wi-Fi. Airport maps, all of this stuff.
Yeah, and I was complaining about, I don't think it was on this show, but it was some other show about transatlantic Wi-Fi and flights. Make it so, please. And someone wrote to me and said, they've got that on Lufthansa. You're just not flying the right airlines, which is true.
That's true.
Wow,
not all of them,
but I didn't know that.
Lufthansa and Scandinavian Airways did it before anybody else did. Is that better?
No, it's back. Your mic is driving me insane. Do something about it.
You know why? It's because you can't see it. If I weren't wearing black, it wouldn't bother you so much.
No, I can hear it.
How's that?
I can hear it just fine.
Can you hear a thing?
You seem all right now.
Yeah, just temporarily.
Yeah, we'll find out. So that's Flight Plus, which is $5.
Flight Plus. It's $5. It's the prettiest of the TripIt apps, but it doesn't do hotels. It just does flights. And TripIt does do hotels, so Travel Tracker Pro might be a better choice. Not as pretty, but...
yeah. I guess there are people who do a lot of flying and don't stay in a lot of hotels.
This is totally
Maybe they've got
flight-focused.
places to stay on either side.
Yeah.
So it just sort of depends on what your needs are.
Depends.
There are options for you. Photo Voyages by Trey Ratcliffe.
Oh, we're so proud of Trey. He just keeps doing it.
He does. He's so good at it, too. This is his latest app, which is actually called Photo Voyages. This is from the Trey Ratcliffe app extravaganza over at stuckincustoms.com. We obviously love Trey, and we've featured his apps on the show in the past. This is sort of the main screen that you get at the very beginning, where it tells you sort of things that you can do. This is the settings area. Swipe left or right to view images.
Now, you get new images every day, but one of the things he encourages you to do is to buy more images.
Right. So what you
which
get...
Which is really a shame, because you get a good bunch of them to begin with.
Right. When you start out with 30 photos, I believe.
Yeah.
What's
and they're
nice
all gorgeous.
about these is that you get a little story about them. And one of the things I think, if you're not familiar with Trey's work, he's a very, very talented photographer. You may know him for his HDR flair, but he's also a very interesting storyteller. He has a really interesting life and a really interesting job. And he's got these great stories about how he set up the shot, and maybe it was difficult to get there, and what he was thinking at the time. This is this Diamond Center area of New York. I've actually already read the story. Really neat, and I love that it's that photojournalism aspect of pictures that give so much more context. And I can get lost in this stuff all day. What's also neat about Trey's work is that he does travel the globe. That's what he does for work and for fun, to take these beautiful pictures, which then he sells. If you wanted to buy a print of this
there's a buy print right there under the description.
In Queenston, I could go ahead and buy it, and it would kick me over to Stuck in Customs, where he has a shop set up. Or if you just sort of like the context of this app, you can, there are in-app purchases.
You can subscribe.
Where you subscribe, and then you get, I think it's like a photo a day.
Yeah, it's for 3 months, new image a day, 50 bonus images is $4. $6 for 6 months, $10. And that's the one you're going to want for the 1-year subscription, a new image every day, plus 500 images. So that would be 865 images for $10. I guess you can't complain.
Right.
But the free one only has the basic 30 images. Gorgeous as they are, you should probably just download it just to look at these images. I mean, they're just so
honestly, yeah,
pretty.
And you can look at them without the explanation if you so desire.
And then tap it, and he'll give you the story, right?
One of the things I like so much about Trey's apps is that he's a very talented photographer. I've actually been to that church.
It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's in Moscow. But the way that he's made money through something that he very clearly enjoys is not just, I take beautiful pictures and then I sell them to, the highest bidder.
He gives away a ton of stuff.
He gives away a ton of stuff. He makes really cool apps, and I hope that it's the sort of thing that's inspiring for other people who have the ability to put together something like this.
Yep.
If you've got the great content, you just got to figure out how to market it correctly.
It helps that Trey was a computer programmer in an earlier life and has friends who are computer programmers. He's a tech guy, so he's combined the best of both worlds. He's such a great photographer.
I know.
It's worth it just for the 30 photos. Just get it, just gorgeous, just beautiful stuff.
Photo Voyages of Trey Ratcliffe, 99 cents.
You're going to London, right?
I am.
So DK, Dorling Kindersley, has for years published gorgeous books in the Eyewitness series. They also make iPad guidebooks, speaking of gorgeous photography. And this is the Eyewitness Travel for London. I had the Paris one when we were in Paris for Le Web.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it as a guidebook. Now, there are other guidebooks. There's Lonely Planet and other guidebooks. But the DK makes the most beautiful stuff. Look at this layout of Westminster Abbey so you can zoom in and find out more about it. This really takes advantage of the iPad and the structure of it. I have to say, this is essentially, I presume, the same content as would be in their physical guidebooks, which are truly gorgeous, but interactive and easy to use, and you're carrying it on your iPad along with you.
And for a large place like a museum, this really comes in handy when you're like, let's attack the area that we really want to spend time in and not get too lost, and we know where we are.
Exactly, and that's its real strength. Is it's not super detailed. So if you wanted, you'd probably, if you were going to Westminster Abbey, you might buy a guidebook that's just Westminster Abbey. Then you'd know everything, where everybody's buried and all of that. It does have some really fun little things, like here are some foot tours that you can take it. So it'll walk you through. I particularly like these walks, and some of them from Paris are really fun. So that's kind of, that's a nice feature. But this is a broad strokes, high-level look at London. But perhaps, they're not expensive. This one I think is $10. So for, your basic guidebook that's on your iPad, you know what this is for?
$7.
$7. This is for the airplane.
Yeah.
This is what you browse through
you're about to go on the
when
trip.
You're on the way. It kind of gets you in the mood. And there's some, there's text here. Here's the history of London.
It has rich history.
So you're going to have a great time. So I wish I could somehow give this to you, but unfortunately,
I'll just download it from my iPad.
It's worth it. $7. I would recommend this.
By the way, you can gift an app to another person. You know that, right?
Gee, really?
Yes.
Why don't I just give you $7?
If anyone out there doesn't know, whenever there's an app where you say, hey, I wouldn't want this, but I sure know somebody who would, you can gift an app.
It's right there on the apps.
You just log into the App Store and you can gift it to somebody as long as you know their ID.
This is the Paris one. This is the one I've used a couple of times at Le Web. Again, these are not the most voluminous. This is eating and drinking, types of cafe. I mean, This is, like I said, for the airplane. You could read this in a couple of hours and go through it all.
Okay, so the thing about London is I have been there before, but I haven't been there in about 7 years.
It's changed.
So it's like, I don't remember any restaurant I
English
ever went to.
now,
They
which
do.
is fantastic.
They don't speak English there. Don't screw with my head. But no, it's like all of that restaurant information and even where something is as it relates to Paddington Station. It's like I actually need all that basic information because it's been so long. So it's really helpful, and I feel less clueless. And that's when you feel less clueless, then you get. You feel more adventurous and you end up exploring and seeing cooler things. In my opinion, that's usually how it goes with me. So I do like to feel like I land with the lay of the land.
This gives you a good, nice overview. And I just looked it up, and it does have the hotel, my favorite hotel in Paris, so which is a small hotel on the Ile Saint Louis. So you stayed right across the street. Your Airbnb was right there.
In an Airbnb. I have a feeling it probably wasn't as luxurious as your hotel.
This isn't that luxurious, but it's a nice little hotel.
It was a small room.
But you see, there's not a lot of information. There's not a lot of pictures, but it couldn't pull you to the website. So these are not guidebooks that are, unless it's wrong, these are not guidebooks that are the most detailed in the world, but they are sure fun to look at and a really great way to get excited about your trip.
Absolutely.
That's DK Eyewitness Travel.
Cool. So for all the links to everything that we talked about, if you like the idea of TripIt or Flight Plus or Photo Voyages, nice photography app, London DK Eyewitness, anything like that, and you haven't written it down, and you're forgetting what I'm saying already, and you're about to go on a trip, and you're feeling very overwhelmed, don't worry about it, because we have all of the links on our website at twit.tv/IPT. That's also the place where you can subscribe to our show, so you don't have to worry about whether we're shooting iPad Today at a weird time, or Sarah's going on vacation, or when's the next show going to be, because it will all be delivered to you free of charge,
Free?
of course.
Wow.
Of course.
We got to charge for these. These are good shows.
Yeah, and give you a little synopsis of what we talked about, links to all the apps, news stories, and things like that. And a quick reminder that we are going to shift the time of iPad Today just slightly, still be on Thursdays, but it would be at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Up until now, we've been a little bit closer to 1:30, so we're going to try to move it up. Pretty much all of our shows are going to start on the hour. Most of them already do. A few of them start on the half hour, and we're going to try to keep them to on the hour, just make it easier for you to follow our schedule.
We got a whole schedule change that starts the week of July 2nd, including TNT moving to 10 a.m. But we'll give you more information about that. But if you go to twit.tv, you can see all the information. I think our blog inside.twit.tv will have that. We also there will have, and I would recommend you look at this post, a little note about the fact that we're changing our file format, our video format for the large video. So if you subscribe to the large video, and I think this show more than any other show we do, people watch video of, you might want to take a look at your device and its compatibility. The new format we're going to use works with all new devices, but older devices not so much. For instance, an iPod Touch first or second generation can't play this video. And unfortunately, when iTunes sees that compatibility issue, it doesn't warn you, it just stops syncing. And so all of a sudden, you won't have iPad Today on your iPod Touch second generation. That would be bad. So we just wanted to warn you that that's going to happen. You might want to check in the next couple of weeks to make sure you did get your download. And I guarantee the mobile version will always work on all the devices, but our new higher quality large version may not work on some older devices. And this is part of moving towards an HD format. That's the next step, and we're going to be doing that very soon. You can find out more about it at twit.tv/watch, and we'll let you know what format we're using and what. We don't know all the devices that don't work, unfortunately, because there's so many devices out there. But we have a pretty good list, and you can try yours to see with a sample file on that site. Our show is brought to you today by our friends at Citrix, who make a great product for remote access. You might need to bring this with you. You say you want to have access to the office, and perhaps you want the email, the office email, or you want notes. Going on vacation can be hard this time of year. But if you have Go to My PC, you're never far from your office computer. You can always check in. And not just with another computer, with a laptop, but with your iPad, too. I think that's critical. In fact, you can even use your iPhone to log into your office computer, Windows or Mac, do anything you would do at the office computer, including send and receive email, run any program, access network resources, just as if you're there. This would be a good time before you go on vacation to try it. Visit gotomypc.com. click the Try It Free button, use the offer code iPad, and then get the iPhone or the iPad app. Those are free. They also have Android apps and others. And look at that. I mean, it's kind of weird to be running a Windows machine from your iPad, but you totally can. You know, the nice thing on the new iPad, the resolution is so high, you actually, in some cases, have a higher resolution than your desktop computer at work. It really works quite well.
Yeah, it's like if you don't have the Retina MacBook,
right,
then you're pretty much guaranteed.
You're in good shape. So try it today. Go to the website, go to mypc.com, click the Try It Free button, use the offer code iPad, and you will be truly impressed. Fast, secure, so you don't have to worry about using it in one of them skeezy London pubs. You know how they are.
You know me so well. Those are the best kinds.
You like pub food?
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not a meat eater, but I like fish and chips.
Fish and chips. You won't be eating steak and kidney pie. I know that. But you might have an piece of apple pie with cheddar cheese, some sharp cheddar on it.
I have no problem with that at all.
Yeah.
Apples and cheese, what's not to like? Add a little sugar and you have a party.
A little spotted dick with some cream. Mm-mm. You don't even know what that is, do you?
My imagination has
the
gone
spots,
to horrible places.
I'll give you a hint, are raisins. It's quite good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, so what about Amazon Cloud Player for iOS?
She's a little breathless right now. I don't know about Amazon Cloud Player for iOS. Would you tell me all about that?
Surely you jest, Leo.
Well, that's why I tune in this show every week. I wouldn't want to
You know how
miss it.
Amazon has its Kindle app,
Yeah.
so that you can read your Kindle books while you're on your iPad.
Yeah.
They just recently released the Amazon Cloud Player. So,
I have a ton of music on Amazon.
If you have bought music that is sitting in your Amazon Cloud, Music Cloud, you can now play it from your iPad using this app. But not just that, Leo. Not just that. Now you can see in my Amazon
it's
Cloud
an
Player,
iPhone app, though, right?
it is an iPhone
Okay,
app.
all
But
right.
again,
It works.
I never shy away from music-based apps for the iPad because as long as they work,
Right.
they're not that visual.
Right.
Usually. I don't actually have any music in my Amazon Cloud.
I do, so I'm going to download
cloud
it right now.
services. Please do. But what you can also do is you can play music from your local library. So my local library here, Carly Rae Jepsen, for example, I'm not going to do that to you guys again.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't she great?
She's just great.
Yeah, but this is a song that I downloaded off of iTunes recently. So it will play nicely with your iTunes library if that's what you're using for, your music.
So it plays local music as well as stuff on the cloud.
Correct. What it won't do is let you buy music. Now, of course, I assume that's because Amazon is like, Apple cannot take 30% of our oh, he has a nice voice.
And actually, that may be Apple, because remember, Apple does not like to put to have apps that have external purchases. So that's what happened with Kindle, right? And all these other, they turn off the in-app purchases. I guess it's partly to keep Apple from having money, but
well, Apple doesn't have a problem with having money.
so you're saying it's a profit deal?
Boy,
I hate that.
Yeah. Well, here's what's kind of neat about this is it's like, okay, well, you can play music from your local library.
Yeah.
But what about an audio file of
about
a podcast, right? Oh, wait, no, I wasn't in far enough. Yeah, you go ahead and play that too. Isn't that weird? I'm playing audio file of iPad today through the Amazon Cloud Player. Now, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That's not really what Cloud Player is for. It's really for music that you bought that's sitting in your Amazon Cloud account. But it does work with a variety of stuff. So if you've got music there, you've got a bunch of stuff locally, you want to play it all in one place, this is a good alternative to just iTunes, which won't access your Cloud Player on Amazon at all. And it's totally free, of course. All the Amazon stuff
I'm quickly
is.
logging into my, don't show my password because I want to log into my Amazon account. This is so exciting.
Isn't that neat?
Now, I wish Google would do this, too, because I have a lot of music on the Google account, too.
Well, we keep hearing, it's coming to iPad, it's coming to iOS, but it hasn't yet.
I'm surprised Apple's
it hasn't,
letting
right?
them.
There's no Google Music app.
Apple's gotten very much more lenient than they used to be. Remember, they wouldn't let you do an app that duplicated functionality that the iPad or iPhone already had, which really was a very convenient way of saying, well, You can't use a music player from another company.
But the thing is, like, what about all those alternative browsers that you're always seeing?
Look at this.
I mean, browsers, by that definition, would not be allowed, and they've been allowed since day one, really.
This is all my Amazon Music.
Isn't that neat?
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, you go ahead and play Neil
I've been wanting to
Diamond.
listen to Neil Diamond America for so long.
I bet.
Let's see how quickly it... well, that was right away.
Yeah, and you can AirPlay it.
And you can AirPlay it?
Yeah.
Wow, this is great. And it's got the album art and everything.
Yeah.
Good on you, Amazon. I'm really glad. That's great.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I was able to show you something that
I
excited
didn't
and
know about
delighted
this.
you.
Yeah.
That's always my goal. Hey, you know what else got a little bit of an update? Well, this is an app that we've already seen, but it's got a little bit of an update, is Facebook Camera. Now, you might say, what's different about it?
Oh, I love this.
What is it?
This is My Lady Carrie's Domp.
Huh?
That's what it's called. This, before Carrie Rae Jepsen did that song where she did this. My Lady Carrie's Domp.
Okay. Really?
No.
Okay. Like,
it was her great-great-grandmother.
I'm trying to believe you. It just feels...
That's what it's called.
So weird.
I wouldn't make that up.
So, Facebook Camera, which is, in a way, kind of an Instagram competitor. We've talked about it on a previous show.
I like it a lot. It's
I
beautiful.
do, too. Nobody seems to not like it, and it's sort of the breakout only Facebook Photos app, sort of like Facebook Messenger is only messages without the rest of the Facebook experience. But when the app came out, they called it Camera. And it was sort of like, well, wait a second. How is iOS allowing Facebook to call an app Camera?
There's so many
when there is
camera apps.
an app called Camera.
It's too confusing.
Well, and
there is Camera Plus, but it can't have two cameras.
You can't.
So it turns out it's not named Camera.
It's now named Camera
Dot.
And it's not a period. And it's not an asterisk. And I don't even know how to actually make that on a keyboard.
But it's not.
But it's Camera Dot. Now, I had to actually look for this because I have so many camera apps I've gotten out of control.
That is
all these
pretty
camera
funny.
apps I have.
I
have a problem.
How do I search? If I search for Facebook Camera? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Facebook Camera. You don't have it downloaded yet?
I do.
There you go.
See, if you search for Facebook Camera, that's what it's called there.
But once you download it...
It's Camera Dot.
It's Camera Dot.
That is very strange.
Weird, huh?
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, the way that they got around a naming convention issue.
Yeah, I see the dot on the app.
Yeah.
You see that?
Camera
it's
Dot.
A little dot.
So it's hard to type out.
You can't really see it very clearly, but
it's there.
There it is.
Yeah. I guess in a way, the problem I think also is, I mean, look at all these camera apps of mine. They're all pretty much the same icon. It's all a picture of a lens. You know, nobody's really gotten beyond that. What do you use?
Let me ask you, because I see people who use Camera, for instance, Camera Plus as their standalone camera app. Uh-huh. What do you use when you want to take a picture? Do you use a special app? Do you use Camera Awesome, Camera Plus, or Camera Dot? I mean, what do you use?
If I'm about to take a picture of something and I think I've got a little bit of time to play around with the post-processing on this, I will always take it in Camera Plus.
Really?
Yeah. Because Camera Plus, I'm just familiar enough with the filters. And
you want to use those features.
Yeah, and I know
because
that
you could import it into Camera Plus.
Yeah, but why not just take it in Camera Plus and it just starts there. And the nice thing about Camera Plus is that it has its own photo roll. So it's like I play around with stuff in there and I only export stuff to my camera roll that's done.
That's one way to keep it out of the photo stream. That's
exactly. So it's like my place to play.
You know, that program has been out now 2 years. 8 million copies they've sold. And Lisa Bettany's I think she actually takes off her clothes and rolls around in money now because she's made so much money, and I'm so happy for her.
Yeah.
Truth to tell, I use the native camera app on both the iPhone and the iPad because it seems to launch faster, it's simpler, and then and then I can import it into, because I use so many other camera apps, I can import it into whatever app, Instagram if I want, or Camera Dot.
I think that requires you to import more often.
So maybe I'll start using Camera Plus.
Well, I guess I always have to export too. I don't know that it really matters, but
it's whatever you like to do, whatever post-processing you like the best.
Sometimes though, if I see something funny, it's like a funny, I don't know, window display when I'm walking down the street. I'm like, that's funny. I'll take it I'll take an Instagram picture and I'll use a filter on Instagram because it's more of
it's quicker.
the message rather than the beauty of the photo. And it is quicker. It's like I don't really need to pay that much attention to what it looks like.
You would use Instagram as your photo app.
Yeah.
Or Path
I do all the
or
time.
whatever. Yeah.
I think it just depends on how pretty it needs to be.
I think I probably use Path a lot because I post a lot of pictures to
Path also doesn't crop. Instagram does.
Instagram does.
And that sometimes is problematic. You take this nice picture and then you're like, oh crap, I just lost half of my
I'm
sunset.
going to give Lisa Bettany $1 and buy a Camera Plus.
You should.
Yeah. I'm one of the few people who never bought it. No, actually, that's not true.
How do you, because you had a...
Oh, there's no Camera Plus for the iPad. That's why I never used it.
Oh, yeah. It works fine, though.
I have it on my iPhone.
It works fine. They all do. By the way, we are going to launch an iPhone show coming up.
Hey, yes, I'm excited. You want to tell the world about that?
Hopefully middle of July. It's kind of like as soon as I get back from vacation, really, and get my butt into gear. Yes, we're going to call it. Do we want to tell people what we're going to call it?
Yeah.
i5 for iPhone. My initial idea was...
Did you know we have a gang sign?
yes. No, Leo loved it, and nobody else did.
It was just you and me.
It was just the two of us, and unfortunately, we were vetoed right off of the island.
We were vetoed right off the island.
So we thought i5 made a lot more sense, and the idea is we can kind of make it a fun countdown show.
Sure.
It's not so much like...
By the way, you're saying
best
we,
to
but it's
worst.
really just you. I don't want people to get the impression that I'm going to be on that show, because I'm not.
Well, it's a TWiT production.
We are show, but you're the host, and it's you alone.
Right.
Because it's a fast-paced show.
Yeah, the idea
I just slow you down.
That's not... Well, no, that's not true. Oh, it's
i5 for the
opposite.
iPhone.
Strike that,
i5
reverse
for the
it.
iPhone.
i5 for iPhone.
Isn't that great?
Gang signs.
5 for
the
the
idea
iPhone.
is that we don't want to make another show that competes with this show because that would confuse you and maybe you guys would think it's overkill. And at the same time, we don't want to spend too much time on iPhone apps for those of you who have iPads but don't have iPhones and you feel like, there's just too much stuff that doesn't really apply to me. So we want to make this show the best show it can be and then have a nice little fast-paced 15-minute 5 cool apps or 5 cool peripherals or 5 cool Bluetooth keyboards or whatever for the next show. So thanks in advance for watching.
You know, the truth is I just wanted to stop doing iPhone apps on iPad today. So
You've always been a little mumbly-grumbly about that. You have.
Why don't you...
You know what's going to
Get a
happen?
room.
We'll get our very
and
own
the
show for
iPhone.
all of that, and then you'll start bringing all these iPhone apps to the
I
show,
sure
and I'll
will.
say, will you stop? And you'll go, what?
Sure will.
That's kind of how it goes.
i5 for the iPhone.
Hey, so Doug Blackwell sent us a really nice story about a cancer center up in Calgary called the Tom Baker Cancer Center, and they're using iPads to help kids stay off of medication during their cancer treatments.
Wow.
Now, apparently with some of these cancer treatments, because you have to stay still for a really long period of time.
Hard to do,
and it's
yeah.
obviously, painful, uncomfortable, and these are kids. What they would have to do is sedate them so that they'd stay still enough.
Oh, dear.
And it's, traumatic, and you've got this terrible association. And it's just, it's a really, really tough time for kids and their families, and anybody involved. And they've found that, they can mount iPads above where a child might have to sit
so
for a
cool.
while, and they're excited, and they've loved this game, and maybe they're, they get to play the game where they left off before, and it's really made a difference. And they've added them to a bunch of their rooms.
That is so cool. That is so neat.
Isn't that great?
What a nice story. Are you a little distracted?
What's that?
Did Ozzy just do something, or are you distracted?
Well, I was just looking over to see who that was, but it was just Ozzy the dog.
Ozzy the dog.
Stealing something.
Stealing a little food.
Yeah, so that was a story from the Daily. Thanks so much to Doug for sending us that.
heartwarming,
Always
yeah.
like talking about that sort of stuff.
That was one of the things I did kind of like about the keynote that I hadn't seen before on last Monday's WWDC keynote is they showed how apps are used for autistic kids, for blind kids or blind people. And I think it was really neat to see these apps used in these great situations. It was kind of inspiring. I was actually pleasantly pleased by that.
Got another email from Jason Davies from Darwin, Australia, who has a question for you.
Okay.
It's an Ask Leo. It says, I run a small business,
Yeah.
and I want to have all my contacts on my iPhone, my iPad, and my Mac that I use for the business, like suppliers, maintenance people, etc.
Right.
But I don't want those clogging up my address book or contacts app.
Oh, you want like kind of a separate address book?
Yeah, I want to access my contacts from the app or the phone app, but just my personal contacts. But I still want to be able to access my business contacts through maybe a separate app or another solution.
But he still wants to make the phone call with it?
Yeah.
So this is on an iPhone, obviously.
Well, iPhone, iPad, Mac. He's basically saying it bothers him when he's looking through his contacts on, let's just say, iPad, for example.
And he wants to separate them out.
And everybody's in one big list alphabetically.
Right. Well, there are other address books, and I've used a number of them. That's an interesting question. I mean, obviously, if you're using an iPhone and you want to make phone calls, no third-party address book is going to have that kind of built-in phone caller. But I think there are other address books. Here's one called Address Book Plus that allows you to use groups and so forth.
That might be all he needs.
Yeah, so it's essentially a separate address book. The problem is going to be making calls from directly within it. I don't think you can. So that's an interesting question. You can use groups, can't you, in the existing address book, can't you?
I guess so.
So you could have some groups not seen.
You know what I did? I was stupid enough to sync my iPhone with my Gmail contacts library.
So you have a lot of...
and every time I get a new
phone
iPhone,
addresses.
I just don't start over. And so I've got just these bizarre email addresses from people who I might have corresponded with once. It's a mess. So
you do have...
I feel your pain, Jason.
There is this groups tab, of course, and you can make... I think you can make new groups. I don't know how you would do it, though. See, here it says groups. And I have my contact groups, but I wonder... And here's my Google address. So that would be one way to do this. Okay, here's an interesting way to do it within the address book, which is to use Google's contacts. And that will show up as a separate list. And then if you do the full contacts, everything will be in there. But if you just show the separate list, I think that will work. You can also use if you're syncing with the Mac address book, you can create groups in the Mac address book. You just can't do it on the iPhone or the iPad. Oh, let's not show phone numbers. Sorry about that. Oh, now I'm calling somebody. Let's stop that too.
So he's tough.
Yeah, there we go. So here's the deal. Okay, I got the solution. I had to think. So what you want to do if you are syncing with your, depends what you're syncing with.
Yeah.
So if you're syncing using iTunes and you're syncing your contact list from your Macintosh, go into the address book of the Macintosh, make groups sync. Those groups will show up under that red ribbon in your contact list, and you can just look at your work phone numbers or just look at your family phone numbers. And whatever you left it as, that's what it'll stay as. If you are syncing with Google, you'll have to do it in Google Contacts and add those groups there. And I think that those groups will then propagate over to the address book.
But that's a pretty decent option.
It's groups. It's what you wanted. The problem with a third-party
like
address book is I don't think you get the same functionality as you would get in the contact list on your iPhone. It's got to be an iPhone question because he said he wants to make phone calls.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. What's next? What's next? Oh, I know. This is the part of the show where you stop listening to me.
And I start watching TV. Thank goodness for the sling player.
It doesn't work as well when I have to remind him to do it. Can you start ignoring me, please? I need to get upset. Leo, what are you doing?
I'm watching. What am I watching, actually? Let's just see. I just started it up. I don't know what this is. What is that?
LL Cool J.
He needed me more than he did.
That's LL Cool J?
I thought it was.
Wow. So what's cool is if I don't know, I can get up. I can get my. By the way, we're using DirecTV, so I can use a DirecTV remote. But if you're using another input, it'll give you a different remote. This is Deliver Us from Eva.
Oh, maybe she's bad or something.
Yeah, she's bad. Dwayne Martin, Gabriella Union, and LL Cool J. Boy, you are good.
Well,
But wasn't that cool? I pressed the info button on this.
And you got information on what you were watching.
This whole remote works. I can even turn it off if I want. I can change channels. This is so awesome. So this is the sling. So how do I do this magic? Because this is my home TV unit, right?
Right.
So here's the deal. I should take this off. When you're at home next time, get the sling box, and put this on your home theater system. Connect it up to your satellite box, your cable box, your DVD player. See, just like that. There it is, the sling box. And then connect it to the internet. Now what you've got is password-protected access to your home theater system anywhere you go. And then you get the sling player that's appropriate for whatever your device. For instance, the Sling Player for the iPad. Now, I have to say, this kind of goes together beautifully because your iPad is such a great content consumption device. But the one thing really missing is all that stuff on your DVR, on your home theater, live news from your, let's say you're traveling and you have a hankering, I want to see Channel 4 News. You're France, you can do that. You just go on the internet and you watch it on your Sling Player. It's really, really
when I
cool.
go away, it's certainly not to escape local news.
No.
I want to see what's going on.
You want to know what's happening in the Hayes Valley.
I'm gone.
So that's one way. That one thing you might want to watch a Giants game. I don't think in Cape Antibes they're big into the San Francisco Giants.
I think you might be correct. Or it'd be a funny time or something. So maybe I'd DVR it and watch it when it makes more sense.
DVR works. You can program the DVR. Everything works. It's so cool. So here's the deal. Go to Amazon or Best Buy and get a Sling Box, and then get the Sling Player on whatever device, and you are set. Slingbox.com/twit to find out more. And we thank the folks at Sling for providing. But the video quality on even on cellular is pretty good on this thing.
That's amazing.
For providing us with this. I think you should take it to France with you.
Yeah.
Here, just take this too.
Hey, sometimes I joke about why would I want to be watching TV when I'm at a beautiful vacation, but it's like, if you're out sightseeing and walking around for 8 hours, sometimes you just need an hour. Right. You want to be quiet. You want to watch a movie or watch something familiar, or maybe you've got a bunch of shows that you're missing, and it really does come in handy.
Chrome88 in our chat room says, Leo, thank you for the Slingbox recommendation. Turns out it's the perfect option for my parents. Just ordered it through Amazon.
There you go.
Thank you. Slingbox.com for more information. So now I'm paying attention again.
Well, good.
Yes.
Because I know a little trick of how to do the camera dot. Remember?
Option 8.
Well, there is no Option 8 on the iPad keyboard.
I don't know how to do it on the iPad keyboard.
Yeah.
Can you do it on the iPad? That's how you do it on a Mac.
Vince360 said he figured it out. So if you're, you've basically got your virtual keyboard up, and you're ready to do your dot. So I've typed in camera.
Yeah.
Get to the dash part. So by default, it's your letters.
Yeah.
If you hit the 1, 2, 3 button down here, you get the dash. Hold down the dash.
Press and hold. Way over on the right. There it is.
Now, this is a really good trick for all of you who don't realize that many of these keys, if you hold them down, will give you other options, such as number 5. What does number 5 have? Of course, nothing. What about number? Okay.
Do E, because my name, I have an accent aigu over the E in my name.
Does it go forward, or is it a forward slash or a backslash?
It's a forward.
So
if you're really typing Leo right, L, and then you hold down the E, and then you do the accent aigu, O, and that makes it Léon. And when I am in Arles, that's what I call myself, Leo Laporte.
Leo Laporte.
Leo Laporte.
If you want a little cedilla, all you...
Can you do a cedilla?
Of course you can.
There you can. Look at that. Or a circumflex.
That's right. Some of them don't work. Some of them do. By the way, this is also a really cool tip. If you want to quickly, if you're typing quickly and you want to add a period and a space, because that's what you do when you finish a sentence, 2 fingers on the space bar will give you just that. A period and a space.
What?
Yeah. Instead of period space, it's just boop, 2 fingers. It's a cool little tip when sometimes when you're in a groove.
Well, what?
You're at least good enough at
How
typing.
long have I been using a freaking iPad?
It's a little dot tip I just decided to throw at you. You weren't expecting it, but now you've got it.
If you type space, it does that. That's an old BlackBerry abbreviation. So you type one space and another space to put the period in.
But iOS likes you to use gestures.
2 fingers.
2 fingers. Yeah. 3 fingers would be period, space, which I don't think is necessary anymore, but some people like to write that way.
You can do 3 fingers?
Yeah. Period, space.
Well, what?
Well, what? I know.
How did you learn that? That's good.
I don't remember. I don't know. It's just one of those things that you learn over time. Somebody probably told me initially at some point.
That's really cool.
Kind of fun, huh?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Hey, so we love featuring as many of your comments, questions, feedback, etc. as possible on every show. So we're going to start with an email from FlyAnActor91.
That's my name, too.
Apple didn't mention this during the keynote, says FlyAnActor at WWDC, but it looks like they're giving the iPad a stock clock app in iOS 6. on the iOS 6 page on Apple's site, when they're talking about Siri's new features, you'll see the iPad screen with all of the stock apps, including a clock app between YouTube
Finally.
and Photo Booth.
That is
sure
awesome.
Enough, Chad, if you pull up that page,
I'm going there right now, apple.com/iOS/iOS6.
look at that. So they're not
Those are
talking
the
about
stock
clock
apps.
specifically, but that is a clock app that does not exist on the iPad.
That is something
right
new.
now.
You know, I never could figure out why they didn't put that on there.
Makes no sense. We've actually covered clock apps
Just so that-
more than once.
Right.
Because people love them, and there is not a stock clock app, which makes no sense.
Is there anything else?
You would use your iPad as an alarm
Messages,
clock the way you would
FaceTime,
use
photos,
your phone.
camera, maps, YouTube, clock, photo booth, calendars, contacts,
Neat,
notes.
huh?
Wowie.
I know.
That is so awesome.
I want to
it's
believe
a different icon than
it's
the
the
iPhone.
coolest
too.
clock in the whole world.
It's got to be so beautiful.
I assume it would also be alarm, right?
Yeah.
Which would be
never
problematic because
understand why
I've
they
got so many other alarm
they left
apps.
that
but-
out.
Yeah. Well,
They left out weather. What did they leave out from the iPhone? Weather, clock, stocks. It was just kind of like, why wouldn't you want that? I guess the original, I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't want that.
I think that somebody explained it to me. Well, their theory was that the iPhone was very much a utility, and when the iPad came out, Apple was still not convinced that it would be the same kind of utility tool, and it would
Right.
be more of a consumption device.
You wouldn't want to know
Why
what
they wouldn't
time
just
it was.
give those to you just to be
Right.
cool is sort of beyond me, but maybe they didn't feel like they should be cluttering up new iPads with too many of their own apps.
Well,
I don't know.
What's great is that because of it, we have a lot of really beautiful apps.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was no calculator app, there are a lot of really beautiful calculator apps.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in a way that we've kind of benefited from.
We've forced them to then
Yeah.
come to the party with something really great.
Yeah,
because
we would
don't
not
really need.
We would
Apple
not
for
have
this.
had Emerald Observatory had they done that.
And this is the coolest app.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. So many of our weather apps and clock apps are
Exactly.
particularly visual because
Yeah.
there's
To
so
take
much
advantage of the
information there.
display. Yeah.
Got an email from Mike in London, Ontario, Canada, who says, I'm disappointed that there's been no reference to the Echograph app. It's a photography app that's kind of different and fairly cool. Perhaps another time. I love your show.
What is it? Let's see.
Well,
it.
I felt terrible, and then I realized that this is a fairly new app, Mike, so please forgive us for not getting to it yet, but you definitely are the one who told me about it. I hadn't heard about it before. What Echograph is, it's one of these apps that takes advantage of this trend that you see a lot right now, where it seems like it's sort of an animated GIF of an image, but only part of the image is moving.
Yeah, we've done a few apps like this. Actually.
Yeah, Kinotopic. Or
Kinotopic was the one
Kinotopic.
I demonstrated. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see this is Echograph, which is an iPad app, which is already cool because some of these aren't. Where it's a still image, but you can choose to animate a portion of it. So if I was going to create an app from scratch, I could go ahead and say, okay, let's choose from the library. I must allow geolocation. Okay, I understand. Go ahead and use my current location. I'm totally fine with this. And I'll choose a picture of Sam because he's just so cute. Oh my gosh. How adorable. So I'll go ahead and say...
So you start with a movie?
Yeah, so...
That's different from Kinotopic. Okay.
You start with a movie.
Oh, no, I guess Kinotopic's the same. That's right. And you figure out what's still.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, that's hard on this one because...
Is that really more than 5 seconds? Okay. There we go.
All right.
Okay. We're good.
Yeah,
Yep, we're ready.
Yeah.
Now, focus on freezing elements of motion.
Freeze you.
So,
Freeze you and move the cat, right?
yeah. Oh. Select a static frame. Okay, got that. Freeze on... Okay,
This is
here
a
we
cool
go.
effect. Now, of course, it can't play back without the special viewers, so you end up putting all of these on there on the, say, the Echograph site, I would have bet. So now you're saying this is frozen.
So I'm trying to keep...
That's not going to move.
Yeah. Now, this is obviously a very quick, not that mathematical way to put this all together.
Yeah.
But let's go high def, because why not? It'll go ahead and process. And then you get this neat effect where...
I think I want
if
this.
If there was
Yeah.
someone, That's exactly the opposite of what I was
Well,
trying to do.
I know. I wasn't going to say anything, but okay.
It's okay. You get the idea. It's like I accidentally froze the wrong part of it.
Right.
But now, that is a beautiful masterpiece that I just made, right? That is great. That's Echograph. So, Kenotopic, just as a reminder, again,
It doesn't have an iPad app. I just checked, so it's iPhone only.
It's not a native iPad app.
Yeah.
Where are you, Keno? I'll have to search for you again. But it does work pretty well. I think I put something together where I had a cat in front of the fire, and the fire was moving, but nothing else was.
My recommendation is do it subtly. For instance, a fire that burns or a fan that spins. Otherwise, it's kind of a weird effect. Yeah, that's good. That's kind
of neat.
Yeah.
And you get this kind of a weird, like, is it real? What is it? Type of a thing. The nice thing about Kenotopic is they have almost an Instagram quality to it, where these are images that people have made. They kind of do this neat, like you can go like reverse, back and forth type of a thing.
Oh, that's neat. I haven't seen that
it's almost
one.
like,
is that Kenotopic?
Yeah.
Oh, they've added some stuff.
David Lynchian type of a thing.
I
so I could go ahead and like this, or decide to follow this person. So that's kind of cool. It's a little bit more of like a social network. Cinemagram is another. We haven't talked about it much on this show, but it's gotten a bit of, that's so cool. It's gotten some attention. I'm not really sure. When I see this stuff, I love it. I think it's very artistic, and I've read a couple articles from people who say this is kind of going to be the future of video online, because we've never really figured out how to make these.
It's kind of gimmicky.
I feel like it's gimmicky too, but I sort of get what they're saying, where it's like, if you're on Path, let's say, and I've shared a bunch of photos from my trip, and you're like, oh, cool, I like this photo, and I share a video, it's like, how often are you really going to click on that video? Because you're busy and you're scrolling, and video is tough.
You're right.
And these
so make it an animated GIF, and then people will be forced to look at it.
Well, kind of, but also I think it gives.
But you can't post these on Path because they're not images; they're movies.
They're technically movies.
Right. So you're going to have the same problem.
Well, but
on Google Plus, if you could turn it into an animated GIF.
Yeah. The point is it's not so much just about Path. It's about. With video, it's kind of like you don't have control over what the video is. You're just there capturing it. But this is actually sort of your little piece of artwork.
Right.
You know, you've manipulated motion.
My point is that you require a special player to see it. It's not just a picture where anywhere you couldn't just put it on your webpage. It has to have a special player to play it.
That's right.
So
you see a lot of these on Tumblr.
You do.
Tumblr is...
Because people turn them into animated GIFs.
Yeah.
Now, will this do an animated GIF out of it?
It will. You can create one.
All right. See, if it makes an animated GIF, that's good, because then you can put it on Google Plus or Tumblr and really annoy people.
And really annoy people. Or wow them. Maybe you've got the touch. Maybe you're good at animating a portion of what seems like a photo.
Maybe you're the David Lynch of animated GIFs.
Maybe so. And you'd probably make a lot of money. People would think you're weird, but it would be worth it because you're a genius.
All right, I'm going to make that my goal, to be the David Lynch of animated GIFs.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Well, download Echograph and get to stepping.
I did. I just downloaded it.
Good. Yeah, that is the only of the three I mentioned, which is Echograph. And thank you, by the way, Mike, for turning me on to Echograph. I hadn't heard of it before, so thank you.
It's actually
Kenotopic, which we've talked about before. Cinemagram is another. I think it's Cinemag... gr.am. I think that's the website. Okay. If you haven't heard of it before, but you've got options. It's definitely a trend right now. Whether it's here to stay or not sort of remains to be seen. But what does remain to be seen is what you're going to send us next. You can email us at iPadtoday@twit.tv. You can leave us a voicemail at 757-504-IPAD. That's our Google Voice box. Send us anything you want, really. You could burp for 30 seconds, and I might consider putting it in the show.
No.
I might consider.
No.
I'm not saying it's a sure thing. I just might consider. I will consider it.
You would consider that?
Yeah, I'll consider it. I'll consider anything. You could also send us a video, as long as you upload it somewhere like YouTube or Vimeo or something like that. Maybe you'd like to put together an animated GIF that will knock our socks off using Echograph or Kenotopic. You could do that too, and send us the link for where it lives somewhere. Thanks in advance. We love getting all of your input into every show. It really makes this a democracy-ish. It's actually not, because you're the monarchy.
It's a monarchy. It's a republic.
Yeah.
I represent you, the people. So I'm doing my own. I just did an Echograph. I'm so excited. This is really. I'm turning into high def video. Look at that.
You didn't do that.
The dryer continues while he's looking in
You
there.
didn't do that.
I just did that.
You did not just do that.
Just now.
That's your picture?
No.
Well, then you're lying, and I must take your crown. You will pay the iron price.
Oh, that hurts. Theon. This show brought to you today by Audible.com. You know what we're talking about here? We're talking about Game of Thrones. Actually, Classic Kings. Book 2 of the Game of Thrones. The next one is what? What is the third book?
Counting Crows.
Counting Crows.
Yeah.
Love that book.
Yeah.
So here's the deal.
Here.
If you haven't read it, Audible's a great way to listen. Now, I'm not going to recommend it right now because it's a 2-credit book. So there's 100,000 books on Audible. Most of them are single credit, but some of the really long ones, like Game of Thrones, are 2 credits. So this is an example where you want to save up your credits. I think the first time you try Audible, you should pick a book that maybe, I don't know. I'm listening to so many good books. Right now I'm listening to a new history of World War II based on stuff that we got when the Soviet Union fell. We got some great Russian stuff. But there's a new Will Wheaton narrative, Red Shirts, John Scalzi's new sci-fi novel. Will Wheaton reads that one. That's got to be pretty good. It's difficult to choose.
Well, they have over 100,000 titles, so
I know.
who can blame you?
I know. I know. 50 Shades of Grey.
Grey.
It's the #1 book right now.
Well, and this is the sort of thing that you can listen to.
It's lady erotica.
It's titillating, so I hear.
It's lady erotica.
From the comfort of your own headphones.
You could.
Or you could have a bunch of people over
choice.
and have like a dinner party and listen to it over your home
my
theater.
Choice. Not my choice.
Not mine either. It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
What about...
Yeah.
What about Canada by Richard Ford?
Canada. What about it?
I don't know.
Just, the
what
point
don't we
is,
know yet about
the point
Canada?
is, and they have the awards. They have all sorts of ways to find your next book. I know. True Blood just started up again. Mm-hmm. Are you a True Blood fan?
No.
What?
I've never seen it.
Oh.
So I'm not a fan.
Oh, that's right. HBO is new to you.
Yeah. I have so many series. I haven't even watched The Wire. I have not watched The Wire.
Oh, you have some fun ahead of you.
Know,
so before you watch the next edition of True Blood, the next episode of the season, it says season 4, you're going to want to read the Sookie Stackhouse novels. Book 1, right there, Dead Until Dark.
Wow.
Sookie Stackhouse, Southern Vampire. She's actually, that's kind of a misnomer because she's not a vampire. But it is great stuff. Funny, but good and scary. And I tell you, if you go to audiblepodcast.com/iPad today, you can get that book or any one of their 100,000 books, the single credit ones anyway, free. What you'll be signing up for is the book of month, the gold plan. First month's free, first book's free. Cancel at any time, the book is yours to keep forever. I tell you, that would be a good one. It's Dead Until Dark. audiblepodcast.com/iPad today. Give it a try. You're going to love it. See, the wash is still turning around in the thing. And
I would have
just
been
goes
really
forever
impressed had you actually made that.
Actually, I did make it. They gave you some sample images. That was a sample movie.
But that's actually kind of cool because so then you get the hang of it.
Yes. So there's 4 or 5 sample images that you could start with. And it makes it a little bit easier. Try a sample clip. And that was one of them. They have a waterfall one, too. And so they give you a video that you can then play with and learn how to do it, right?
So that's kind of cool. You could isolate the water or the climber. I'm
going to isolate the water. So we'll pick the duration. We'll do that. It's actually pretty simple.
Yeah, you're a natural.
Picking the static frame. And then we're going to say make the water go. And it shows you what it's going to look like, which is kind of cool. And then we go, okay, and I'll do a low diff because it'll be faster. Instant gratification, they call it. And I have to say, I am going to play with Echograph next week when you're not here.
Yeah.
Instead of iPad today, I'm going to do an hour of my motion animated GIFs.
Well, I'm glad I'm not here then. What? I'm just being honest. And honesty is the best policy, partner. That's right.
Nice hat, girlfriend.
Thank you kindly.
It's time for our app caps. You start, as always.
Yeah, this is the part of the show where Leo and I pick an app that we like. Why? Because we like hats and we like apps.
And we like
they're the App
you.
Cap Awards.
Yep.
And we do like you. In fact, we like you the most, or we
That's
wouldn't even
right.
do this show. Hey, my app cap was recommended by, I think it was GigaOhm that I got the... I can actually look right now because I favorited it on Twitter, and I want to make sure that I give credit where credit is due. I favorited the app from The Verge. It was The Verge. They recommended an app called TripIt and said, this is a Metro-style music app for all of your music on your iPad. And I went, Metro? They couldn't possibly mean like Windows 8 Metro.
What do they mean?
That's what they mean. That's actually what it looks like.
It's in the Metro. So this is a player?
It's the Metro style.
This is when I wish Apple would have enforced that rule about not duplicating existing stuff.
You don't like this?
Why would you want that?
Because actually, it's a really nice style.
Let's see it. All right,
yeah, so
let me see.
This is. I'm not playing anything right now, so home is not interesting. But what I have done is I picked a nice little background. You've got some wallpaper images.
These are all Windows Metro.
Yeah, this is like stuff that might be familiar to you. So this is kind of like
that's pretty funny.
Smoky water type.
If
of
you
thing.
feel bad that you don't have Windows 8 on your iPad,
which you probably do,
sure.
I'll go ahead and my accent color is teal right now. Maybe I'll click lime. I'm kind of a fan of green.
Yeah.
But okay, so now what happens? Well, I can look through my artists. As you can see, green is my accent color, and I can see that this is just alphabetical, or I can search by albums. In the C areas, the Carly Girl or iPad Today as well, which also works, by the way. So you can actually listen to podcasts this way as well. And, somebody was complaining that you could not listen to podcasts in this app. At least with an audio podcast, I was able to with no problem. So there's
does it
that.
stop? You know what? Maybe they're complaining about it doesn't stop when you, it doesn't pick up where you left off, that it starts over like a song? That would be annoying.
Well, where would you...
Well, like, say you listen to half the show and then you stop it. You don't want to start at the beginning again.
It's possible, I guess, that's
know.
an issue. They also have nice playlists, what you purchased on this particular iPad.
This is pretty.
Yeah, what's recently added, most played. So if I go ahead and play something, I'll go ahead and play this song from
funny.
Dredge.
It looks just like you got Windows 8 on your
Isn't
iPad.
That kind of like
so strange.
I know that is weird, but it's kind of nice. And what's neat is that this is the album art, and this is actually a picture that I believe they're pulling from Last FM, which is like another promotional picture of that band.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, behind the album art. I see. Yeah.
So then when you
the Zune
go back to home,
music player does that. Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you've got this added to your background.
So funny.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
I don't quite know what to make of it either. But
you could have gotten a Zune, and then you wouldn't have had to do all of this.
But that's true. You could have done that and saved yourself the iPad trouble, because who needs everything?
Who needs that?
Stupid
Just
device.
get a Zune.
But this is, again, it's called TripIt, and it works really nicely. I like this. I think it's
Then
really
you,
nice
my
looking.
dear, should get the new Lumia 900 Windows Phone.
But I already have the iPad, so why do I need it?
That's a good point.
So there you go.
That's a good point.
I'll go ahead and stop playing this because I don't want Dredge to
That's
get mad
really
at
an
me.
interesting notion.
It just looks. I mean, you've got the artists here. You've got the albums.
No, it's exactly like the Zune interface.
Right. I don't need to convince you.
You don't have to convince. I recognize
that
it.
this looks like Metro. And of course, I don't, again, have a ton of music locally on this iPad because I just have it stored other places. But if you did have a lot, you might not want to be looking through everything alphabetically, and so you have a nice search option as well.
Right.
It's a little bit of Microsoft in your Apple. Sometimes we just want that.
You're gonna love my app cap. Oh, wait a minute, I don't have my hat on.
Well, you better.
Fortunately, no, I have it. I have it right here in my cargo
okay.
pants.
Oh.
This is.
How could anything fit?
Well, it's this very special app cap today.
What? That's not a hat at all.
No, but you're going to want to have this for this particular application.
Okay, I believe you.
Because this is called Plague Ink.
Oh.
Have you ever wanted to infect the world?
Yes.
This is the greatest. By the way,
riches.
Chad Johnson, thank you for plugging this. You are 99 cents. You are not going to stop playing this. Chad's been playing it in Google Hangouts because it's so much fun. All right, now I'm in the middle of a game. Let me load the save game, and then I'll go back and show you what you go through. I've just created a disease called Twititis.
Okay.
And I am building up. I've infected now. It looks like millions and millions of people, but nobody's dead yet.
Okay.
But you could see I'm already getting this is the red part's the infected part. You collect DNA, And then you can modify your disease as you collect the DNA. For instance, I could say right now it's transmitted by birds, rats, mosquitoes. I could also have it give organism the ability to spread through blood-to-blood contact. I can evolve it. I've got some DNA points. I'll use those. I could say what the symptoms are. Now, by the way, Chad gave me a pro tip, which I'll tell you a little bit later on. You can see its infectivity is building, its severity, but it's not lethal yet.
So
but
you only have a certain amount of points, so you can't just go like
you get
totally
more points.
Crazy.
You can, because you get more points as the game evolves. So,
okay.
Yeah. Now, then you watch, and as you'll see, things are going to happen. You could see the boats.
USA
the red boats
is distributing face masks.
You see the red? Yeah. See the red boats? That's the infection transmitting around the world. So, and the white planes don't have an infection yet. Oh. Paranoia symptom has mutated.
Oh, no.
So now I'm going to tap that. So that gives me more DNA points. I now have 64 DNA points. And as I get more DNA points, I can do more things. New Zealand leading global. Now, this is bad.
Because they're trying to
cure it. In fact,
they're
they're 18% towards the cure. This is the current date. And so we're kind of in a race to take over the world. And that's why I made a little bit of a mistake. I, unfortunately, gave my disease symptoms. Stupid me. Chad pointed out if there's no symptoms, they don't work for a cure. So let me go back. Let me go back a little bit to the beginning of the game. Is it in settings? Okay, save and quit. And then we'll start a new game, and I'll show you. When you first start playing, you have one kind of thing. You can do a bacterium, okay? Now, by the way, there's casual, normal, and brutal. For new players, no one washes their hands.
Disease.
Research doctors don't work. Sick people are given hugs. But if you play brutal, people compulsively wash their hands. Doctors never go home. Sick people are locked in prison.
Yikes.
Makes it very,
kind of stuff.
very hard to win the game. Now, you start with bacteria, but you can unlock virus, fungus, parasite, prion, nanovirus, or bioweapon, baby.
How do you unlock them?
By winning games. So the more you play, the more fun it gets.
When everyone in the world dies? Is that how you win? You
let's
kill
call
everyone in the whole
let's
world?
call it Sarah Plague.
Okay.
Sarah, let's call it Sarah Flu.
Okay.
Sarah Flu. Okay. So we're going to give everybody Sarah Flu. Okay. So I've named the plague. This is such a fun game. Now I'm going to show you because it starts out here. You're a new bacteria. To win, you must evolve and spread across the world, wiping out all humans in the ultimate plague. And so you decide where the country's going to start. Now, in warm tropical climates that have both planes and boats, that's a good place to start.
Right.
You wouldn't want to start, somewhere where there's no... I think a good place to start, let's see, where should we start this plague? How about South Africa? Let's start right there.
All right.
Okay. This is for sick people. Sarah Flu has infected its first humans. Weak and used to hot temperatures, it must evolve to infect more people. So I'm going to collect a DNA point there. And I might want to evolve it in various ways by transmission, symptoms, abilities, and so forth.
So now what happens? Where are all the sick people?
Well, it spreads. There's only one person has it right now.
Oh, okay.
So it has to spread. Now, Chad, he's kind of at an exciting point. Chad, I don't want to ruin your game.
No, go ahead and do it.
Really?
Yeah. Hit load.
All right.
So this is Chad's game because he knows what he's doing.
He's
right?
just started infecting people, but he knows what he's doing. Now, now you can devolve. So there's insomnia symptoms happen. Do you not want us to have that?
Right. So go ahead and do disease.
So I'm going to go to symptoms, and I'm going to devolve the insomnia symptom. We don't want anybody to have any symptoms. Now notice, no symptoms means nobody will try to fix this.
On top of that, pro tip, you get 2 DNA
Look how
points
many people
back.
are infected now.
So I don't have many infected, but I'm at a really crucial part because if you go into the disease, you can see that it's very transmittable.
Yes.
Yes. And that's all that I've been upgrading.
So you've been like, okay, so probably next I would like to, as soon as I can, get mosquitoes, but I need 16 DNA points. So I'm going to have to start collecting some DNA points.
Right.
And sheep, birds, rats. In fact, there's stage 2. Now in bird 2, avian brain tissue is compromised, causing birds to attack other species, increases mutation. This is the creepiest ass game you ever saw, and it's so much fun.
But wait, do you win when the world dies?
Yes.
Okay,
You have to kill
I
everybody.
know what my goal is.
See, it's starting to really spread here.
Right, so I knew that it'd get really hectic right here. Now, the other thing is that I'm playing as mold. Now, the problem with mold is that it doesn't transfer very well. So that's why I'm upgrading all of my transfer.
I should go back to transmission, and we should really maybe get those mosquitoes involved as soon as we can here. I still don't have enough DNA points. Nobody's dead yet, right? But you can look at different countries, like a lot of people in South America, but one person has it in the USA. I really don't like that, but we'll have to.
Disappointing. Come
And
on,
you
USA.
You can click the world view down there in the corner, and you can see how.
So they haven't even started working.
They haven't even noticed. See,
There's
so I
no
named
symptoms.
It Liara, which is a merging of Leo and Sarah.
The Lyra. No cure. No
So they don't
cure.
even know it
No
exists
cure for the
yet.
Lyra.
So you can see it hasn't hit Finland, but you can see which countries are destroyed, which countries are infected, which countries are healthy. You can get a graph of...
It's a little troubling that I've never seen you so excited about
This
a
is
map
the
before.
sickest game ever.
You're wearing a mask.
It's so sick.
And you're like...
It actually makes
double
people
speed.
sick.
So you win, everyone's dead, and then you have just you and your iPad left.
That's right, baby. It's called... That's because I'm listening to
Congrats.
Stephen King's The Stand on Audible right now.
Oh,
and
are you?
I just love this stuff. This is, if you saw the movie Contagion, this actually, there's some science behind this. I think that whoever designed this probably is an epidemiologist or has some public health background, because there's a lot of science in this. And you actually probably would learn some things, like it's a good idea to wash your hands.
Yeah, and lock people up in jail who seem at all sick.
Absolutely. Plague Incorporated
Just be
by
safe.
Endemic Creations. It's just 99 cents. This is absolutely a compelling game.
Love it.
And you can see on one of the customer reviews, yes, and please add zombies.
You don't even need them.
I think at
That's
some
the
point,
thing. This
that's
is
the next.
reality. Yeah.
Oh, the system has mutated and developed some symptoms. We don't want symptoms, so we're going to go in here and say, no, 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 no. We don't want people to get cysts. We don't want that. We don't want them to know they've got it. And I think we should have more vectors. What do you say, Chad? More vectors?
Yeah.
Mosquitoes?
Yeah.
Yeah, skeeters, baby. Let's spread.
And so what's funny is actually the zombies, you can upgrade your symptoms, like you can upgrade, what is it, paralysis or...
So for the 4 areas are nausea, coughing, rash, anemia, cysts, or insomnia.
Insomnia. If you upgrade insomnia all the way, you create walking zombies.
Oh!
Because they
yeah,
can't
'cause
fall
you
asleep.
can't.
No
They
one
can't fall
can
asleep.
Oh, this is so... You guys are morbid.
Oh,
Isn't that
we're just
fun?
boys, and it's so much fun,
You're
and
scaring
I'm going to wear the
me.
mask
All
when I
right.
play this game.
I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands, and then I'm going to go home. And I'm going to take a bath.
Now you know why I wear black. I'm actually evil.
You look really good in the mask.
I know.
It's
It's
a very
me.
nice look for you.
Yeah, it's because I have beautiful
You
eyes.
kind of, you
Really-
seem like kind of a psycho killer or something.
I'm going to be in the next Batman.
That's
I'll
right.
save this game, Chad, because I think you want to keep playing that there.
In the meantime, that is it for this episode of iPad Today. It was a doozy, and those are always the best ones. Remember, you can subscribe to our show. You can see all of our show notes at twit.tv/IPT. We really appreciate everybody who watches and those who don't watch, but they do listen to us every week. We love you guys. See you next time on iPad Today.